Today, we are going to be looking at cellular respiration. What does it mean and what does it involve? When you talk about cellular respiration, it means that what you are going to, or the process which is going to take place is going to take place in the cell. And the respiration, it means that that process either is going to require oxygen in being present or oxygen being absent. So basically, this is the process by which energy is produced in a cell or in our bodies. And then this process, since it is called cellular, it means that it is occurring inside the cell. However, not all the parts of the cell that you are going to find this respiration. It has a specific part where it's supposed to take place. Welcome to cellular respiration. Let's go into detail. When we talk about cellular respiration, is a process whereby glucose is broken down gradually in presence of oxygen, and then it can be or in absence of oxygen, but the two will produce what we call energy. So the major purpose of this respiration is to produce energy. This process is basically a chemical process. It means that involves chemicals so that this process can take place. Which chemicals are in there? We have what called the raw materials, the things which are supposed to be present in, and also you have what we call the enzymes. So the enzymes are also supposed to be present so that this process can take place. So that's what we call the cellular respiration. We have two types of cellular respiration. The first type is called aerobic respiration. The second one is called anaerobic respiration. The major difference between the two is that aerobic respiration occurs inside the cell, but it must have what we call oxygen. Oxygen must be present. So the key point here, it must be presence of oxygen. So aerobic respiration occurs in the presence of oxygen. And then anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence. In absence of what? In absence of oxygen. So these two types of respiration, why one is occurring in presence of oxygen and why one is occurring in absence of oxygen. The two processes, yes, can occur in one cell, but they have advantages and disadvantages. Yes, there is a time when oxygen is abundant. Therefore, we will undergo what you call aerobic respiration. And there is a time when oxygen is not there, but you require energy. Yes. So what does it mean? Does it mean that you have to, the processes are supposed to stop? No. Now the cell will change from aerobic respiration and then it undergoes anaerobic respiration. Where is this condition happening? During your daily activities, you undergo what you call aerobic respiration. Why? Because you are not using oxygen excessively. You don't use this oxygen too much. Therefore, you produce maximum energy when you are under aerobic respiration. That's why everything is occurring normally. But imagine an athlete, yes, an athlete who is running and running for a long distance. Time is going to come when this person has no enough oxygen. Therefore, it means that now the cell, but this person requires energy because he's still running the process, or the race is not yet complete. Therefore, what happens? The cell has to change from aerobic respiration to anaerobic respiration. However much it produces less energy, but that energy can help to maintain the process that person is doing and also the normal functioning of the what? Of the body. Hence, anaerobic respiration will occur. That's why this person opens the mouth so that can take in more oxygen, but still that oxygen is not enough to produce enough energy which is needed. Hence, anaerobic respiration will kick in. So what are some of the importance of this energy? Why do we need energy in our bodies? So energy is needed number one, is used by the organisms for various ways. Some of the ways include, yes, growth. Yes, growth requires energy. Why does it require energy? Because there are so many processes there which are active, and any process which is active, it means that it requires energy. Where is this energy coming from? It comes from respiration. Then number two, cell division. It can be either meiosis or mitosis. These divisions are active processes. Therefore, energy is needed for those divisions to take place. Actually, you cannot even grow if there is no cell division. The cell must divide. After that, you have cell elongation. After that, then growth can take place. If the cell divides and then there is no elongation, then it means that it's going to become a cancerous cell, or you're going to suffer from what you call cancer, because they're just dividing and there is no increment in the size of these cells. Movement. Sometimes when you are weak, say that I don't have energy, you can't walk for a long distance. Why? Because you are hungry. It means that you don't have energy. Don't forget that when you eat, you get the energy. Yes, when you eat, you get the what? You get the energy. So this energy is also used for movement. When you talk about movement, we classify movement, then the movement of the parts, and also locomotion. So when you talk about movement, we are categorizing it, or we are putting it into one umbrella, so meaning that locomotion and movement of the parts is the same thing, so we take it as a movement. Then we have what called transport of substances. Remember, we have substances moving across the membrane, across the neurons, reabsorption in the nephron. There is a lot of things which are supposed to be transported, move across somewhere. So these processes, they're active. They require energy for them to be able to move from one place to another. Or sometimes those substances which are carrying them, they require to contract and relax, and this contraction require energy. Hence, energy is needed for transport. And lastly, active transport. Active transport, you know it, that you are moving things from region of high concentration, from region of low concentration to region of high concentration against a concentration gradient. Meaning that you are coming from downhill, going uphill, automatically you will require what we call energy. So, where does respiration take place? Respiration takes place inside a structure called a mitochondrion. So, last time we saw the structure of a chloroplast. What about now the structure of the mitochondrion? Mitochondrion is also an organelle. If you look at it, it has a sausage shape. Yes. I don't know how you draw your sausage. Okay, let me just draw it like that. Yes, it has an outer membrane. The outer membrane is smooth, but it has the inner membrane. The inner membrane is infolded. Yes, the inner membrane is infolded. Yes, the inner membrane is infolded. You see it that the inner membrane is infolded. Why is it infolded? It's infolded to increase the surface area for this reaction to take place. Yes, that's why when you look at it, it has this infolded surfaces, so that there is an increase in surface area. Imagine that this surface was like this. To run from here up to here is less than from running from here up to here. However much, when you look at it, you see that this one is shorter, this one is longer. But you have to run like this, you have to run like this. When you stretch it, it's going to be longer than that. Hence, when it is infolded, you have a different what? Different distance. So it increases surface area. Yes. So this mitochondria, yes, it has what we call the DNA. It has the DNA which controls its activities. Therefore, we call mitochondria chloroplast, these organelles which have their own DNA, semi-autonomous. They are self-reliant, halfway reliant. They don't depend on the cell. However, yes, there are some things which they have to depend on the cell, the general cell, but it is halfway semi-autonomous. It is semi-autonomous, halfway autonomous, meaning that semi means half. Yes, semi-autonomous. Then it has a fluid. It has a fluid. This fluid, we call it matrix. Remember that for the chloroplast, we say the fluid inside the chloroplast, we call it a stroma. We can give you the question to give the difference between the chloroplast and the mitochondrion. Yes, don't forget that chloroplast is used for photosynthesis, while mitochondrion is used for respiration. Yes, so it has that. It does not only stop there, because it is supposed to do its own protein, manufacture its own proteins. Therefore, it has some bit of ribosomes. Yes, it has what you call ribosomes in there. Yes, that's why you see them here. These ones, yes, we call them ribosomes. Yes. Then this membrane, we say that it has the outer membrane, which is smooth. It has the inner membrane, which is infolded. But in between these two membranes, there is a space. That space is called the intermembrane space. Intermembrane space. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. So when you are drawing, don't shade. Draw it in a simple way, that like this, and then start to label. These extensions are called crista. Yes, crista. So those extensions, this is the one I'm talking about. We call them, these infolded things, we call them crista. So that is the simple structure of a mitochondrion. Why do you need the structure of the mitochondrion? Is because we have to know, when you talk about the Krebs cycle, when you talk about oxidative phosphorylation, when you talk about glycolysis, the processes which are involved in respiration, we have to know where exactly these processes are taking place from. So basically, that is what you are supposed to understand better. Let's look at the process of cellular respiration. We said that the process of cellular respiration involves involves two processes. We have aerobic respiration and we have anaerobic respiration. And I said that aerobic respiration involves, or it requires what you call energy. So it requires what you call oxygen. For energy to be produced maximally, you require enough oxygen so that this process becomes complete. It's like when you are burning carbon dioxide, when you are burning carbon in presence of oxygen, you complete the process and then you're going to produce carbon dioxide. But if you burn carbon in the absence of oxygen, it's going to be halfway. Therefore, you're going to produce carbon monoxide. Hence, the same story here. If respiration occurs in presence of oxygen, you're going to have maximum energy. Hence, you're going to produce a lot of, you're going to produce maximum, the process is going to be completed and you're going to produce maximum energy. And then if you don't have enough energy, you have limited energy. If you don't have enough oxygen, it means that limited energy is going to be produced. Why? Because the process is not going to be complete. It's going to be halfway. Hence, anaerobic respiration reduces or produces less energy, while aerobic respiration produces a lot of energy. So aerobic respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen, as I've explained. The first part of aerobic respiration occurs in what we call the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm, which means that the fluid of the cell, cytoplasm, the fluid of the what? Of the cell. The other phases of respiration, they occur in the mitochondria, which we call the engine of the car, meaning that that's where the power horse. Sometimes students or teachers, they classify a mitochondrion as the power horse of the cell. Why? That's where power is being produced from. Yes. So you're saying that the requirement for this process is oxygen and glucose, and the byproduct is carbon dioxide as well as water. So, and the energy is the major product of this process. Don't forget that. Respiration is the reverse of photosynthesis. And the photosynthesis is the reverse of respiration. So the products of photosynthesis are the raw material for respiration, and the product of respiration are the raw material for photosynthesis. Don't forget that in photosynthesis, you produce oxygen and glucose. So if you produce oxygen and glucose, you have to produce you produce oxygen and glucose, then you have to use carbon dioxide, and you have to use carbon dioxide and water for that process to take place. But now here you have to use oxygen, the product of glucose, of the product of photosynthesis. Use glucose and the oxygen, yes, glucose and oxygen, and then now you produce carbon dioxide and water, yes, in present, and then you produce also what you call ATP. So you guys, listen carefully. Listen carefully. These two, in actual sense, these two processes might be taking place at the same time. Photosynthesis is taking place and also respiration is taking place. Here I'm talking about in plants, because in animals we don't have photosynthesis. So because if photosynthesis does not exist, it means that we don't have life. Yes, it means that we don't have life. So it means that glucose plus oxygen, you're going to produce carbon dioxide plus water plus ATP. The other side, when you use glucose, meaning that for the process, the reaction for photosynthesis is going to be the reverse. Carbon dioxide plus water. Actually, also ATP, we use it when during the in the dark phase. Yes, basically it's all of them. You produce glucose plus oxygen. However much oxygen is a byproduct, however much here also here is carbon dioxide is a byproduct as it goes to respiration. Yes, so the stages of respiration, of aerobic respiration, the process of aerobic respiration include glycolysis, Krebs cycle, oxidative phosphorylation. Glycolysis, where does it take place? It takes place in the cytoplasm. Krebs cycle, where does it take place? It takes place in the mitochondrion. We have to see exactly where in the mitochondrion does it take place. And then oxidative phosphorylation takes place in the mitochondrion still. That's why I say that the first stage, glycolysis, occurs in the cytoplasm, while the other stages occur in the mitochondrion. So Krebs cycle and oxidative phosphorylation, they occur in the mitochondrion. So I'm going to stop here, and then the next class is going to be we're going to be talking about these processes, glycolysis. I'm going to explain them in detail. Krebs cycle, I explain it in detail so that you understand. I know that this is a challenge to many students, but by the time I finish this, you'll be able to understand it better and you don't have any difficulty. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to others for our daily new videos. Yes. Thank you very much. See you again in the next class. God bless you. Welcome back to our class. Yeah, today we are going to be looking at glycolysis, or the 3 stages which are found in cellular respiration. Don't forget that last time we talked about the 3 stages which are involved in respiration, and basically here we are talking about aerobic respiration. Remember that respiration is divided into 2, aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration is whereby oxygen is being used during the process of this respiration. While anaerobic respiration, here we say that in anaerobic respiration, oxygen must be absent. We say that aerobic respiration is divided into 3 stages. The first one, we said it is glycolysis. The first one, we say that it is glycolysis. The second one is Krebs cycle. The third one is oxidative phosphorylation. So now we are going to look at these 3 stages in detail. Glycolysis. When you talk about glycolysis, basically, don't forget that oxygen glucose, glucose, glucose is an hexose, hexose, meaning that is a sugar. Remember, when you say os, it means sugar. It means that is a sugar which is made up of hex. Hex means 6. So is a sugar which is made up of 6 carbon atoms. So if it made up of 6 carbon atoms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, that's why when you're writing it, yes, it is C6H 12 or 6. So it's made up of 6 carbon atoms. During the process of glycolysis, what is happening there is the 6 carbon atom molecule is divided into 3 carbon atom molecule. Basically, here, now it means that you form 2 3 carbon atom molecule. You understand? And this carbon atom molecule, 3 carbon atom molecule, is called pyruvic acid or is called pyruvate, depending on how you want it to call it. So this is 3 carbon atom molecule, 3 carbon atom molecule. During the breakdown of this 6 carbon atom molecule into 3 or 2 independent carbon atom molecule, a small amount of ATP is being released. So it means that this process results in the production of small amount of ATP. And this process of glycolysis, it takes place, number 1, in the cytoplasm. Doesn't take place in the mitochondrion yet. It takes place in the cytoplasm. And number 2, what you need to take note of, it takes place in absence of oxygen. So it takes place in absence of oxygen and takes place in the cytoplasm. It results in the production of less energy and also 2 carbon atom molecules, which are made up of 2 molecules of pyruvate, which are made up of 3 carbon atom atoms. Yes. So if we come back here and we see our process of glycolysis, we say that basically glycolysis in science, what does it mean? Glyco comes from the word glycogen. Yeah, but here we are referring to glucose. Yes, lysis in science means splitting. You splitting. So splitting this molecule of glucose or glycogen. So this molecule, when it divides 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbon atom molecules, 6 carbon atoms. So it divides into 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, meaning that you have 2 independent molecules which are made up of 3 carbon atoms. So we're saying that it takes place outside the mitochondrion in the cytoplasm. So we have explained about that, and we said that you have to take note of this, that this process occurs in absence of oxygen. So oxygen is not required during this process. This links us to the anaerobic respiration, which takes place in absence of oxygen. It means that when it is anaerobic respiration, it cannot undergo other steps of Krebs cycle and oxidative phosphorylation. Why? Because those 2 phases, they require oxygen. It is only glycolysis which takes place without oxygen being present. So the glucose molecule is broken down into smaller molecules. These smaller molecules, yes, remember we said that they are made up of 3 carbon atoms, and then a small amount of energy, yeah, is being released and is stored in energy-rich ATP. Don't forget that during phosphorylation, in this case, you have ADP, which is adenosine diphosphate, plus an inorganic phosphate. You form what you call ATP, which is the adenosine triphosphate, which means three phosphates with the adenine added there. Hence, we form what you call adenosine triphosphate. So during this process, some energy is released, and this energy is used to form this bond. Hence, you form adenosine triphosphate, so that energy is stored as ATP. Yes. So we are saying that the energy, this small amount of energy is stored in energy-rich ATP molecule. Energy releases high energy hydrogen ions. So it doesn't stop there. We also release a small part of hydrogen ions. These hydrogen ions, yes, hydrogen ions, they are used in the oxidative phosphorylation. They are used in oxidative phosphorylation. And how does it move from the cytoplasm, and then to mitochondria? How does it go there? Yes. How does it move from the cytoplasm? There must be a carrier. Yes, an enzyme carrier or a carrier which is used to carry this hydrogen, and then it takes it into the mitochondria so that oxidative phosphorylation can take place. And that carrier is the NAD. NAD. Yes, don't forget that in photosynthesis, it was called NADP. So this is nicotine amine adenine dinucleotide. But for the case of photosynthesis is NADP, which is nicotine amine adenine dinucleotide phosphate. Yeah, so this one is nicotine amine adenine dinucleotide. So this nicotine amine adenine dinucleotide plus the hydrogen ion, it forms NADH. So this is the NADH which moves into the oxidative phosphorylation, but it passes the Krebs cycle and then it enters the oxidative phosphorylation. Hence, we're saying that release high energy hydrogen ion, yes, and then this high energy hydrogen ion will enter the Krebs cycle. So, if you look at this structure, it shows that the pyruvate, it will enter, and the NADH, it will enter the Krebs cycle. These arrows, this part, it shows that it enters the Krebs cycle. Yeah. Hence, we enter the Krebs cycle. The Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle can only take place in presence of oxygen. Oxygen must be present. Yes. So it means that the other one, less energy is released, but during these two phases, we produce large amount of ATP. So over 30 ATPs are being produced. 36, yes. So here we are saying that occurs inside the mitochondrion. Yes, releases carbon dioxide. It means that now the pyruvate which enters here, the pyruvate, it enters here. Don't forget here is the pyruvate which comes in. So it enters here. When it enters here, it undergoes cycles. These two molecules, they'll undergo one by one. Yes, the cycle. And during that period of the cycle, it is broken down, and then carbon dioxide is produced, but plus the hydrogen ion. The hydrogen ion will combine with the NAD, and then it does not only combine with the NAD, with also FAD, and then it forms they enter what we call the oxidative phosphorylation. So transports hydrogen atom to the third stage of hydrogen carrier enzyme. So this it will be transported to the next stage of respiration. So what we have produced here is the NADH and the FADH2. They enter the oxidative phosphorylation, but the carbon dioxide which is produced here is acting as a byproduct. Don't forget, as a small reminder, that what happens, the raw material of glucose, the raw material of photosynthesis, they are the product of respiration, and the raw material of respiration are the product of, or the products of respiration are the raw material for photosynthesis. So you have to take note of that, meaning that these two they are reversible reactions. They are reversible reactions. So now the NADH and the FADH2, they enter here. You see them there, that they are entering the oxidative phosphorylation. This makes us to go to the oxidative phosphorylation. Guys, if you want a distinction, you have to use this booklet, which we call the distinction material for grade 11. There is distinction material for grade 12, distinction material for grade 12, for grade 10, distinction material for grade 11. Use these books, yeah. you'll be able to get distinctions. If you want the book, you have to click in the go to the description. You find the link there. Click on that link, then get your book so that you can get a distinction. Guaranteed, a distinction is guaranteed, because there is nothing you're going to ask you without being indicated in this book. Let me know if you have any challenge or you have any comment in the comment section below, or find me on that WhatsApp number. I'll be able to help you out. Let's go to the oxidative phosphorylation. Under oxidative phosphorylation, under oxidative phosphorylation, what happens is what we got from the Krebs cycle, they enter, and what we got from glycolysis, some of it, that is the NADH, and then what we got from the Krebs cycle, those two, they enter the they enter the oxidative phosphorylation. So basically, as I said that, what happens is what you got from Krebs cycle and what you got from glycolysis, that is basically the NADH, they enter what we call the oxidative phosphorylation. So in this case, basically what we are looking at, the NADH and the FADH2. These two, yes, remember they contain this hydrogen. They take the hydrogen to oxidative phosphorylation. Now, when it enters there, it undergoes a chain of reaction, yes, whereby there is electron transfer. So, for example, if this, if all these are hydrogen acceptors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let me show you what happens. This hydrogen acceptor, it brings it, it gives it to this, this gives it to this. Yes, as it moves from 1 to 2, energy is released. From 2 to 3, energy is released. From 3 to 4, energy is released. 4 to 5, energy is released. 5 to 6, energy is released. Now, this energy which is released here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes, is used to add ADP plus inorganic phosphate to form what? ATP. And that energy which is released here is stored in form of what? ATP. Now, the last hydrogen acceptor, what happens to the last hydrogen acceptor? The last hydrogen acceptor is going to be oxygen. Yes, the oxygen is going to be used, yes, and then it accepts the hydrogen, and then now it forms this H2O, and then now the cycle is complete. But there is a lot of ATPs which are being produced here, as this one is moving to this, energy is released, this one moving to this, energy is released. It's like that, until over 30 ATPs are being what? Are being released. Let's go back to our oxidative phosphorylation. It takes place inside the mitochondria and requires oxygen. So it means that oxygen must be present. Pass high hydrogen energy hydrogen atom from one hydrogen carrier enzyme to. So what does it mean? It means that one hydrogen carrier enzyme gives it to the next one, and then the next one, like that. But during that process, energy is being released. So releasing energy in this process. What happens? This energy is used. The energy which is being released in this process is used to combine the phosphate molecule to an ADP. That is what I showed you here, that energy which is released is used to combine ADP plus an inorganic phosphate to form the ATP. Hence, you form what you call adenosine diphosphate to adenosine triphosphate. This process is called phosphorylation because oxygen is involved there. Hence, and there is oxidation. It takes place during there is oxidation and reduction. So this process is an oxidative reaction. Hence, we call it oxidative phosphorylation. Yes. Here is the formula which is shown how these two are being formed. For example, this ADP plus ATP, you form ADP plus inorganic phosphate. Yes, you form what you call ATP. Adenosine diphosphate to form adenosine triphosphate. Oxygen act as the final energy, the final hydrogen acceptor, as I said, binding it with hydrogen, forming water molecule. That's what I said here. Yes, that oxygen, it becomes the last hydrogen acceptor, which combines with the hydrogen ion here, and then, or atoms, and then you form water molecules. Doesn't just take place the way we write it like that. It's a little bit of complex, but we just use it just to summarize for you so that you can understand what is behind, what we call the behind the scene. All right. So what happens? The hydrogen forming water is used, forming water, which is released as a waste product of cellular respiration. Basically, water molecule is being released, but is acting as a waste product. Yes. Or we can say is a byproduct. Yes. And let me remind you. Don't forget I said that you have glucose plus oxygen, you get carbon dioxide plus water here plus ATP. This is respiration. And then this is photosynthesis. This is respiration, the raw material for respiration. You form these products of respiration. But the raw material for photosynthesis, it forms the raw material for respiration, as I'm showing you. So we can bring this side, instead of writing this equation, we draw a mitochondrion, and then this side we draw a chloroplast, and then we do those arrows and we ask you which substance is being lost here, which substance being obtained here, how do you call this process, and then we, you know the way how you might not ask you, we call it, this is organelle X, this is organelle Y. You know that the structure of the mitochondrion, it has the enfolded what? Inner membrane. Yes, so it means that you are able to identify it. While the structure of the chloroplast, you know that it has those what you call the granum and then the intergranular lamella. So you are able to understand that this is a chloroplast and this is a mitochondria. So you must not be confused when you bring questions concerning about it. You will be trying to practice different questions so that we see that at least we can obtain marks if a paper comes in. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, and share to others for our daily new videos. Let's go back to the summary of the whole process. Let me call it a recall. A recall for this, or what you call summary, or remembering what we have studied. Yes, we said that respiration is the process by which glucose is broken down in presence of oxygen to produce ATP. Yes, but this aerobic respiration, it has three phases. 1, glycolysis. 2, Krebs cycle. 3, electron transport chain, which we call the oxidative phosphorylation. Remember I told you that when these they enter here, they undergo a series of electron transport. Yes. So what is very important in glycolysis is the 6 carbon molecule will break down to form 3 carbon molecules. Yes. 2 of them. Yes. Number 2, you produce some bit of ATP. That's number 2. Number 3, you produce a hydrogen ion. This hydrogen ion will add to NAD, which is nicotine amine adenine dinucleotide, to form NADH. This NADH will go through the Krebs cycle in the mitochondrion, and then it enters the oxidative phosphorylation. That's point number 1 for glycolysis. Point number 2 is Krebs cycle. The pyruvate, which is formed, the 3 carbon atom molecule, which enters the Krebs cycle, it will undergo a series of reactions, and then it will produce hydrogen ions. It does not stop there. It also produces carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is moved out of the system, and then the hydrogen ion the hydrogen ion, yes, it will combine with the NAD and the FAD, yes, to form NADH and the FADH. These two hydrogen acceptors, they enter the oxidative phosphorylation plus the NAD, which we obtain from glycolysis, and then now you form what you call oxidative phosphorylation. So number 3 is oxidative phosphorylation, obviously. So what happens here is you have the they undergo a chain of reaction whereby there is accepting and releasing of electrons. Accepting and releasing of electrons. This during this process you produce energy, and this energy which is being produced is used to add ADP, ADP plus an inorganic phosphate to form ATP. Yes. And then we say that the last hydrogen acceptor is going to be oxygen. And that oxygen will accept that hydrogen, and then it forms what we call water. And this water is taken as a waste product or a byproduct. Hence, we have formed a number of ATP. And don't forget that respiration, what you want from respiration is production of ATP. So in this case, by the end of this stage, we will have a maximum number of ATPs. Yes, so that is the summary of respiration. You must know this by heart. University students, this is not how we explain it. We explain it more detailed, a more detailed structure. There is a lot of information we're supposed to add in. So if you are going to continue with the life science or with the biology at the university level, then you have to know more information about that. All right. Anaerobic respiration. Don't forget that we say that anaerobic respiration occurs without oxygen. So it means that if it occurs without oxygen, it means that anaerobic respiration will only take place for glycolysis. It doesn't have Krebs cycle, doesn't have oxidative phosphorylation. It occurs a short period of time and only occurs basically in animals during the emergence period, mainly during physical exercises. Remember, you use the oxygen, which is now, for example, you are running. At the beginning, you run, you get exhausted, and then you open the mouth. The mouth, even if you open it more, the oxygen cannot be enough because you are using this oxygen vigorously. So what happens? The body needs energy. So what happens is it is supposed to break down the energy without oxygen, but that has however much is beneficial, energy is being released, but it releases less energy. It means that you use a lot of oxygen, use a lot of glucose with the limited amount of energy which is being produced. And I can say that anaerobic respiration in animals is a necessary evil. Is an evil which is necessary. Necessary because we get ATP. It is evil because it wastes glucose. Yet glucose is needed to produce large amount of ATPs. Anyway, that was my statement, but it can also be correct. We're saying that produce less ATP than aerobic respiration. Yeah, anaerobic respiration produces less ATP than aerobic respiration. We also have anaerobic respiration in plants, anaerobic respiration in animals. Let's look at anaerobic respiration in animals. It is known as lactic acid fermentation, meaning that you produce lactic acid. If you find someone, you run it today, tomorrow you have painful muscles, it means that lactic acid accumulated there. Your cells undergo what you call anaerobic respiration, and then lactic acid is being produced. Occurs in the muscle during intensive exercises. You think of all the intensive exercises. Enables glycolysis in the cytoplasm of the animal cell, and then this results in accumulation of lactic acid, causing the muscles to become tired and painful. That's what I was talking about. Yes. So when the muscles become pain, when lactic acid, because this is an acid. Acid is not supposed to be in our muscles. It's not supposed to be there in the body. It's supposed to be excreted out of the body. So because the process of excretion is taking place at a low pace, then it accumulates and then it causes this tiredness and the accumulation of pain in these muscles. Produce only a small amount of ARB. We have talked about this. Lactic acid can be converted back to pyruvic acid when the muscle receives enough oxygen. So when the muscle receives enough oxygen, can be converted into pyruvic acid, and then now we can take it to oxidative phosphorylation or Krebs cycle and oxidative phosphorylation, and maximum amount of energy can be produced. What about anaerobic respiration in plants? This is called alcoholic fermentation. People who are making, you know how you call it, ne? Mkombot, ne? They are there in KZN, yeah. Yeah, what happens there is you do fermentation. And during this process, you cover it so that oxygen does not enter. Yes, brewing, ne? You call it local brew. Yes. So during this process, yes, oxygen is blocked so that this process of respiration does not undergo aerobic respiration. Because if it undergoes aerobic respiration, it won't be able to produce the alcohol. So what happens is you block it, and then glycolysis takes place, and then after that, because there is no oxygen, now the pyruvate is converted into an alcohol. Hence, fermentation is taking place in this process. It enables the glycolysis in the cytoplasm of the plant cells, resulting in accumulation of pyruvic acid. You see, pyruvic acid forming ethanol. So in this case, this is what we call the alcohol, and then releasing the carbon dioxide. If you check where you are making this fermentation, yes, you'll find out that there is what we call small bubbles which are coming out. Those small bubbles, that is carbon dioxide which is being released. So we are saying that it can be summarized like this: glucose plus ATP plus pyruvic acid. Glucose gives you ATP plus pyruvic acid. The pyruvic acid, or the pyruvate, sometimes we call it pyruvate, is converted into alcohol and then carbon dioxide. Hence, you have the alcohol in the dirty thing you are trying to drink. So the alcohol is there. However much it could be, the percentage is a little bit smaller due to less separation of this alcohol from other residues. Yes. So we are saying that what are some of the uses of anaerobic respiration in industry? Number one, yeast and fungi respire anaerobically. So we use them. We use them during baking. We use this anaerobic respiration to bring about alcohol. People enjoy alcohol. They enjoy it. How do they enjoy it? How do they feel it? Yeah, you are the people who are taking it. You know how when you take it, how do you feel? Which moods do you undergo when you are taking it, and how does it taste when you are taking it? But I see that when people take it, when people are queuing to get it, it means that, yeah, maybe it is something nice for them. All right, that's why this is very important. Beverages such as beer, wine, all that is being used in fermentation. Yeast cells are also used during the bread rise. You see that bread rise. Some of there is this bread called fagamoya. There is just filling your air in the yeah. When you eat it, you after 30 minutes you are hungry, but you ate the full bread. That bread you buy from chicken, not chicken. You buy from ShopRite and Pick and Pay. You put it in the machine. It starts to kick, and then it forms the slices. Or the best example is this bread you make spatula with, or the quarter. Ne? When you eat it without chips inside, you're telling me if you stay a full 1 hour without becoming hungry. So They call it phagomoid because it's full of air. Just you are feeling the space in the stomach. So basically, it's like a sponge inside. Why? Because of the rise of yeast is trying to escape from this bread and then it makes it to what? To rise a bit. So lastly is the comparing between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration, yes, we use oxygen. Anaerobic respiration, there is no oxygen used. And then aerobic respiration, yes, it occurs in the cytoplasm and the mitochondria. Anaerobic respiration, only cytoplasm. Yes, the end product is carbon dioxide and water. Here, anaerobic respiration is alcohol and carbon dioxide. Then the other side is oxidative. There is oxidation of the respiratory substance. There is complete oxidation of these substances we use. Here, there is incomplete oxidation. Yes. Why? Because oxygen is not there. Then you produce 36 ATPs. Here, you only produce 2. Imagine. So it means that anaerobic respiration is very, very, very important. So you guys, if you want more about this, don't forget to subscribe, like, share to others so that you get a distinction. And don't stop only with grade 11. When you go to grade 12, you'll find better videos which are going to make you, even if you sit home and relax and you watch this, you're going to get a distinction. Our next topic is the carbon dioxide production during aerobic respiration experiment. We like to ask this in exam, and we also like to ask this during practical work. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share to others for our daily new videos. M. Saidi, as usual, God bless you. See you again in our next